I'm Anders. I'm a CEO of a company called T Solutions in Denmark, which is a web agency that does Umbraco websites, e-commerce sites using Umbraco, do online marketing. So yeah, we are a lot like many of you guys here. And then one of the other parts is that we do client work, and then we also help other Umbraco companies. So if they need help with a project or something like that, e-commerce or Umbraco site, we also help with that. So that's our main thing. So you probably want to know what T-commerce is. Well, T-commerce is of course an e-commerce package for Umbraco, and I tend to relate it to Umbraco. If you see Umbraco as a toolbox for building, for building websites, T-commerce is a toolbox for building e-commerce on the Umbraco platform. So what that means is that we used Umbraco a couple of years before we actually did T-commerce. So all the principles, the simplicity, the flexibility, all that mindset that is around Umbraco, we use that when we build T-commerce. So it's also a simple yet very flexible system, and one of the major things is that we actually use T-commerce ourselves. So if something sucks, it sucks for us and our clients, and we want to improve that. So yeah, I know there are some developers here and there are some decision makers, and I will go ahead at some time and do a demo, the coding stuff, but it should show the decision makers that you can actually build a web shop on the Umbraco platform quite quickly. So yeah, I'll try to do that. What T-commerce does is that, of course, it's the toolbox, so you have to build something yourself. I showed you the starter kit, so you have like the base. But what it takes care of is that we handle multi-currency, we handle all the VAT calculation, all the pricing, having shipping methods, all that, those components that e-commerce is built off. T-commerce handles that. And then, of course, the most major one is that we use the Umbraco node as a product. And what it gives the e-commerce platform is that it actually gives you a lot of flexibility. So you can use, first off, you can use all your Umbraco knowledge. You can use that to actually build this e-commerce site. You can build the entire UI using MVC, XSLT, whatever you want, because all the product parts, most of it, 95 maybe, is actually just Umbraco. So you create a product node, you give it what properties it needs, an image, a price and all that. And of course T-commerce ties in with this data, and I'll show you how that's done. But if you want to add a YouTube data type to your product, yeah, you can go ahead and do that in 5 or 10 minutes. So you can really enrich your client's products. And as a developer, you can just use all the knowledge you already have from Umbraco. So it's not that a big step to actually do e-commerce on the Umbraco platform with T-commerce. Of course, we have a custom section in Umbraco where you define a shipping method, you define which countries they are available in, all the pricing for those things, you manage the currencies, VAT, and all that. All the bits of the toolbox of the e-commerce is handled in that place. And it's also where, when the orders are completed, the web shop owner will log in and actually see the orders and can manage it from there. And I'll go ahead and show you that. And yeah, we have payment gateway supported. We actually have an open source payment gateway project. So if the provider you need isn't already there, you can go ahead and look at all the other providers and see how they're done. And we have documentation for how to actually build this. So yeah. That's a neat part if you need that. But we have PayPal, which I know is one of the major ones here in Germany. So yeah, maybe new features. If you don't like the stuff I just talked about was also in T-commerce 1. But what we did is that we actually refactored the entire engine of T-commerce to T-commerce 2 about 5-6 months ago, and released that. And what T-commerce 2 added to the T-commerce toolbox is that, just like Umbraco, we support SQL, C, MySQL, Azure platform. So everything that Umbraco supports, T-commerce also support that. And we actually use Umbraco as the data layer, some of you might know that, and Umbraco uses that as well. So if you do hardcore data manipulation in Umbraco, you can also do it in t-commerce. And again, some new conceptual parts we added was we added multi-store support, so you can have a B2C and a B2B web store in the same Umbraco solution. You can have different brands, yeah, whatever you can think of. We also added regions. We had countries, but regions like US days or Bundesländer here in Germany. So you can go ahead and specify a shipping method is only available in different parts of Germany. So you can go ahead and do a lot of flexibility there. We also have product bundles, like product bundles is actually just if you buy a computer and you have like a graphic card in that and you have 2 hard drives and all that, you want to manage that as one product. So you can go ahead and do that. And then the last part is user permissions. It's actually just a small part, but it is where you can go ahead and say that the web shop owner only sees the web shop, so they can see the orders. They don't have to manipulate the settings. You as a developer or as a company can go ahead and have those permissions. So that's just the necessary parts. That's not a big framework. And as I said, we did refactor all the APIs, and actually also added some new ones. And the new API we added was the HTML API. And if you are a front-ender, you're going to love this, because it's actually just HTML forms, input fields, select fields, all the things that you know from basic HTML. And you can go ahead and use that to actually build lots of the e-commerce functionality, because you want to use that as a base, so the web shop is supported by every platform. What you can go ahead and do is that we have a JavaScript API which actually has more methods than the HTML API, but most part of it is used to make like visual things. So you can go ahead and add an order line or add a product using the JavaScript API, but most of the parts you will actually do some UI stuff where when you add something to the cart, it will blink or it will have a layer on top or something like that, and say if you want to buy more, go to the cart. So most of it is used to actually do UI parts, but you can interact with everything in t-commerce using the JavaScript API. Then we still have, like from version 1, we also had an XSLT and a Razor library, and they're actually identical with the JavaScript API. Of course, these two are server-side, so you can do maybe a bit more, but it's not much. But if you know one API, you actually know all of them, because all the methods or the parameters, all that is exactly the same, so it's just the syntax that changes. So if you want to make something in the Razor API, you can also do that in JavaScript if you want to have something called asynchronously or whatever you want. And it's very easy to switch between those when you actually know one of the APIs. And underneath it all, of course, we have a flexible .NET API. And I'll go ahead and show you how flexible it is. And it reminds a lot about the Umbraco 6 API, where they simplified the model, where you have some services that you can ask for different content in Umbraco. You can ask for delivery country, t-commerce, you can load the currency. It's a very basic API. But the flexibility I'm going to show you that is that, again, t-commerce on the server side handles all price calculation, all those important parts that we don't want to leave to the client. And we have some default implementation of that, but you can go ahead and switch it, just like if you had heard about Søren's speech. You can go ahead and actually just override our default parts, and you can go ahead and make your own. And I'll show you because it's quite simple. So now it's going to demo time. Yeah. What I'm going to show is that I'm going to sit here, but I'll try to look on top of my screen here. But I just want to show you how simple it is to get started with t-commerce. So of course this is just a simple demo. It's not. It is a working web shop, but it's not good looking at all. But I'll show you the starter kit, which is actually an entire e-commerce site with a lot of functionality out of the box. So this is just to show you how easy the APIs are. And I have actually here just prepared a bit. This is just a standard Umbraco site using SQL CE, and I installed one of the starters that comes with Umbraco. So, first of all, I'm going to install T-Commerce, of course. So here, I'm going to load up the newest one. Yeah. And this will also show you how Umbraco and T-Commerce actually is tied together. So when this is done, this says I need to insert some JavaScript, and this is just to prepare for using the JavaScript API I'm going to show you in a bit. I'm going to use this here. Then I need to fetch a store ID, and I'm going to show you, explain you what that is, but we're just going to use an Umbraco page view that's called store, and I want to use it recursive. So this is just for the JavaScript API, and yeah, I'll go ahead and show you that. So, and we're going to remove, some of you will love this, we're going to remove this hideous form here. We don't need that. And so, if I hit F5, I will actually have a T-Commerce section here. So now I'm going to create a store, and it's called demo store. And I'm just gonna make a country here. We create some default stuff. I will create Denmark just because that's what I know, so don't be offended about that.
Jamaican dollar!
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, this is just some basic setup. I'm defining the payment country called Denmark, a currency called Danish crowns, and then I have the Danish VAT, which is hideous, 25 each. It's hurting, yeah. So now I'm going to introduce on the home page. I'm going to add a store selector. So this is just to tell Umbraco when I create my document types of the product, which I will create in a bit. It knows which store these products actually belong to. So this is just, and as you saw before, I will call it store, and we have this store picker here. So this is the one I just wrote in the JavaScript API to actually fetch. Before, I just go ahead and set that. So on my home page, I now have my demo store. So now we have Umbraco tied together with a store. So now we need some products. And I will create a product and a matching template. And I will just make a tab and some basic information that T-Commerce needs to know about. So we have a SQI, which is just a string. We have a product name, which is also just a string. We will have a price, DKK. This is the alias that are specified for my currency in the T-Commerce section. I'll just go ahead and show you that. So here, still what you're making here in the UI, but here actually types what property it is to find the price. So this is one of the ways I tie T-Commerce together. So when I add a product, it actually knows where to look for that information in Umbraco. And we also want an image, which is a media player, like that. And I can now create products underneath my home page. And before, I'm just going to make the template here, just so we have some basic stuff. I'm just going to copy this one. Set my master template. And I'm going to delete this one here. And I want, because we want to do some dynamic stuff, I want to have a macro for, or a razor file for the product view. So I add a product slash view, create a macro, product test, just for now. and I will insert that into my product template. So here, product view. Now we can go ahead and create our product, and it would be called Toy Story. I'll give it a product name, I just specify Toy Story, and let's have it at 100 Danish crowns. I haven't uploaded an image yet, so I'll just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to load up an image, Toy Story, upload. So we have it here, and now we can see some UI stuff. Oh, we can't, but almost. So, product test. Now we're ready to just use, make the UI of this one. And up until now, most of this has been normal Umbraco stuff. So I'm gonna open my website here in Visual Studio. And of course you can just use the editor in Umbraco, but I just like code completion, so that is why I do it here. So we have our template. Yeah, like that. So I'm gonna make a dynamic node. Current page equals model. Just this one here. So now we're going to use the Umbraco API to actually get those information. So we have our product name. That is our current page that we get property value of product name. We want to get our image out, so we have our image ID. Again, current page, get property value. Sorry for this being a bit the same. We also need the price, of course, and to do that, now we need to, this is e-commerce, so we need e-commerce to calculate the price. It will take care of the VAT and what currency are the customer actually viewing this product in, and all that. So we need a price, and that's an object from e-commerce. So I know this is in e-commerce.api.models, really simple. So we have our price here. And the entire Racer stuff, I want to point you out, well, this is documented, so we have HTML API, JavaScript API, Racer, XST, and .NET. And here is basically how you do it, but the most important part of the Racer API and also XST and all that is a class called TC for t-commerce, so that's just a shorthand. So I know that's defined in t-commerce.umbraco.web. So now I have actually access to that one. So tc.getPrice, and it needs the store ID. So to fetch that, we just use the current page again, get property value. I call it store, and I need to get it to cursor, and I just pass it to a long. I know it's long, so that's why. Going to pass that in. And this product identifier is actually just the node ID. So it's just a string. So now we actually have the information we need. So we can go ahead and say product name. We can have our image. Oh, we need our image source. That's the next one. So image. Well, equals, and then we use the Umbraco API to actually get that. So we say library.media by ID, and we can set that image ID in. So like this, and we need to have the price. Oh, sorry. And TKMS will automatically, when you just type it here, it will automatically actually include VAT. So this is just an object, so we actually have a lot of different information, formatted, value, what the VAT is, and all that. But if you just do this, it will automatically do that. So, error of the macro script, oh no. So, just go ahead and start this. So for this one, I'm just going to debug this. This is live coding, so at least once you need oh yeah. Sorry, forgot this one. URL. So this is all. This is actually like the only part that is TKMS is this one. So you can actually do all your presentation just using your Umbraco skills. So next one, we want to add this product to our cart. So I use the HTML API for that, and again, it's documented, so you can go ahead and read it. All these are the methods and how it actually works, and I'll just give you a brief introduction to how it works. I don't want to type all this form stuff. But what it actually does is that we have this URL that you use always when you use the HTML API. We have the method we specify here, and then we have the parameter identifier, the name of that, and then we have a field where should the value be find it, like an HTML field. So this one says product, the parameter product identifier, find that in an input field called product identifier. So this is here. So you can just think of this being replaced with this value here. So we want to make this dynamic. Of course, here we need our store ID, and our product identifier is just our current page.id. And here we specify the quantity, we want to add 1, and then we just have a submit button. Click here. It's added, but you can't see it, but it works. Ta-da! No, we finished. No. So now of course we need to have it displayed. So I want to make a small mini card up in the right corner. So we're gonna do in Umbraco, we're gonna do a new macro. New scripting file here, so we have slash mini card. So we have that, and we're gonna insert that into our master. Template here. So let's get rid of these and insert the new guy. So I'm gonna reload this one, and then I'm gonna just copy this. I don't want to write it all again. All the using stuff. So now we want to not display this one, and I have prepared some crazy UI for this one. This is just a div tag with some text. You have X items in your cart and the total price, and of course we need to replace this with some TKMS stuff. So again, we have a new object that's an order. Of course, an order and a cart is the same stuff. It's just actually which state it's in that defines if it's a cart or an order. So we have an order. Let's call it order equals now. So we say if if the customer has a current order, we want to specify that and add it to the variable here. So, and the reason why we have to have this has instead of just getting the current order is that get current order will automatically create an order. So yeah, you don't want to do that, but it's convenient to know that if you want to create an order, you can just call tc get current order, and that's what TKMS uses underneath in like the API. So it's only this one you need here. So we have an order, and we want to have a total quantity. So a decimal total quantity equals, and when we say order not equals null, order lines dot sum, and we are gonna sum on the quantity, or else we just have 0. So now we have this one, and I'm just going to use some formatting here. Oh, it should be 0, like that. So now we need the price. Total price equals, the order is defined, we take the order dot, and it, yeah, we have a total price, but I'm going to use a subtotal, but that's a more advanced one. It doesn't have shipping calculations and all that included, only the order line, so we want to use that. And else we want to format a price 0, so we don't have anything. So again, we're going to use this one. Let's see if that works. Please do. No. I'm not good at live coding, I think. Oh, it's open here. Oh, that's why. Really good. So, as you see here, we're closing back, and all this works. So now we don't, as you see, the browser is updating every time, and we don't want that. So what we can do is that we can actually just, here in our HTML form for adding the product, we have a class called, a magic class called Ajax form. And when you add that to your form, T-Commerce will actually translate all these input fields and use the JavaScript API to invoke this. So now it will be JavaScript enabled. So if I go ahead and see this, you won't see a refresh and you won't see anything happen, but if I refresh the browser, you can see something has been added. So now we're actually using the JavaScript API to do this. So next up is that, of course, we want this card to be updated when we add to the cart. So I'm going to copy this stuff here and just explain it a little bit. We get a new script. So what we actually do here is that we bind to an event, a generic event, that every time a card is updated, this event is invoked by the T-Commerce JavaScript API. And we are going to loop all the order lines to get the quantity, and we replace the UI with these new values here. So again, as you see, it's called order.subtotal prices. That was what we had in the Razor API. So again, the JavaScript objects resembles the API stuff. And we need to include that in our template here. So here. Now she actually updates the UI as well. Yeah. So, and again, just to show you the JavaScript API is that we can use add or update order line, and I can specify the product identifier, which is as a string, and the quantity as 1. I'll just go ahead and find out what the node ID is of that. It's 2. So if you look at the minicard now, oh, I haven't do it yet. Oh, sorry for that. So if you look at the card, or the minicard, it actually, because we use the JavaScript event to hook into it, even if I use the JavaScript API, I use the Ajax form stuff, it actually updates the UI. So we have some generic ones, and you can also hook into specific ones and be notified when a specific order line is added or something like that. And I just want to look at this one. So the stuff we are missing is that we want to, of course, have our customers enter their details, like first name, last name, an email, and again, now we have a new method, some properties. We're gonna make this dynamic again. And here again, properties is specified again as a key and a field name of where to find the information. So this form again. Just gonna close this. Update. Now I can type in angles. Update. Of course, you'll have to fill in this information using the order object we used up in the minicard, but just showing you this. And again, now we want the customer to pay for this, and I haven't set up a payment gateway, but I have a default method that's just invoicing, so it will automatically be approved. But what I do here is that I specify the HTML element, that will be our submit button, and T-Commerce actually generates a payment form. So if it was PayPal, it will generate a PayPal payment form here. So if we go here, update, pay for order, it will redirect me to the front page. I can set up, of course, the URL for where to get this, but now it's created. And if I go here and find my orders, order one, I have bought 27 copies of Toy Story. So this is a basic web shop that's implemented in, what was that? 15 minutes or something like that. I know it's a very basic one, but that's just to show you that these APIs are meant for productivity, and it's very easy, and all the APIs are documented here, so you can actually just go ahead and get an example and make it dynamic, and that's it. So of course, if you don't want to have a crappy looking web shop like this one is, we have a starter kit, which is again all the basic functionality, adding products to carts, having an entire cart flow. You can update your cart. Again, JavaScript API is used as well, just to make the UI nice. You have all the basic stuff, and it takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to actually use just an installation guide how to actually get this to work. And it's an entire Umbraco installation with all the document types, some nice packages installed, and we use this at T-Solutions every time we need to start an e-commerce site. So we don't need to implement the basic stuff. And it's free for you to use, so you can just download it. It's a zip file, so you can go ahead and change it whatever way you want to. So this is just our way of doing it, and we wanted to share that with you guys. But it's a good way to, if you have a client demo you need to do, it takes 15 minutes to 20 to get this up and running, and you can actually show what the capabilities Umbraco has as an e-commerce platform, and you can use it as a starting point for yourself, just to learn basic stuff of e-commerce if you want to dive into that. So back to this one. How do I? So the flexibility. As I said, like Umbraco, we have it's a good solid toolbox, but you can extend it in the ways you need it to. So what that means is that we have those simple.NET API with the models I showed you, an order. You have a lot of properties, but it's very basic objects. We have a notification center that is a way for you to be notified in .NET of different events in T-Commerce, so you can be notified when an order line is added to an order. You can be notified when an order is finalized. That's when it's completed, when it changes shipping method, or changes country, or something like that. And you can actually go ahead and do custom coding and say, if the country is changed, I want to check the zip code, and if that's not valid, I want to change it to something valid or something like that. So you can go ahead and notify on a lot of stuff. And it's just event handlers like you know from .NET. Of course, the price calculators is like the stomach of e-commerce, where all the price calculations are done. And you can go ahead and change the way those things work. And I'm going to show you in a short demo. But we have a default way of doing it, and you can just inherit from that class and register your own one, and just override the specific one method that you want to change. So if you want to give 10% discount if your name is Andrews or you're from Germany or something like that, you can go ahead and do that in a short amount of time. And of course, we use Umbraco for content, and you can go ahead and actually, that is also a provider, so you can go ahead and actually write one that gets the product information from an XML file or a third-party system or whatever system that you want to. That's totally pluggable in e-commerce. So we just have a default implementation of Umbraco. If you want to implement e-commerce with another CMS or something like that, it can actually be done. One thing that we also use it for is like we have, if some clients have custom pricing from C5 or something like that, we can actually import that XML pricing structure into the product node in Umbraco, and then we write a custom the stuff in e-commerce that grabs the price for the product node. We actually write some custom code there to look through the XML and find the right price. And it's if you have the XML stuff, it's maybe a 30-minute job of work to do that kind of customization. So it's not that hard to do those things. And just to show you, one of the price calculators here is that this one is product calculator. That is the one that presents. So here it's the one that presents this price here. So it's going to take the 100 kroners and add the VAT. But what we could do here is that I inherited from our product calculator. So I just overridden this one method here, calculate price, where I need to return a decimal. And I get the original price. That's the one we fetched from Umbraco. So it has a value, and it will be 100 if I debug my code. But here I could actually say return, and then I have my order dot. If it has a property that is called first name, that is equal handlers, I will return the original price and give a 10% discount. And if not, I'm just going to return the original price. So I just built this DLL. I'm short of time, so I don't want to show it. But I just built this DLL, and it's going to use that instead, because this stuff here, suppress dependency, that is where you register your code. So you just specify which interface do you need to override in which DLL. That's it. e-commerce automatically look for all classes with this property, and yeah, your code is registered. So that's actually it. So here you would make some custom calculation for doing C5 or custom pricing, all that. So that's very basic. Yeah, some of the other stuff, of course, that I integrate is that membership integration. If you are logged into Umbraco, or not Umbraco, but as a member, Umbraco member, we will automatically associate that member ID with the order. If you want to create a member when an order is completed, you can just use the notification center to be notified when an order is completed, and then just use the Umbraco member API to create the member. So yeah, again, it's Umbraco almost, Umbraco. And yeah, we support multi-language, yeah, all those kind of things that you can think of in an e-commerce site. We have done, I think, about maybe 25 e-commerce solutions on e-commerce ourselves, and we haven't met the limits of e-commerce and Umbraco as an e-commerce platform yet. So it's again, it's like Umbraco. It's simple, easy system, but it's very flexible, so you can build quite large solutions without any problems. Oh yeah. Well, just so you know that when we built e-commerce, we built it for ourselves in the first place. We talked to some of the Umbraco communities, people that actually needed an e-commerce site. At the time there was only e-commerce, but it didn't fit our clients and our needs. So that's why we worked together with some Umbraco community members and built e-commerce. So it was a project for ourselves, and we still use it today. But as you see, we have about 250 plus solutions using e-commerce worldwide. So it's grown into a bigger thing. So, but yeah, we still love it. That's why we actually do e-commerce. That we love Umbraco and we want to use it for e-commerce solutions. Last bits, I think I maybe have 1 minute left. The thing that's important for you is that we have partnered up with Byte 5 for actually doing certification courses here in Frankfurt in November. And it's a 2-day course. It is minded for front-end and back-end developers because we go through both the soft parts for the HTML APIs and also some of these price calculators, which is more for the .NET parts. But we think as both front-enders and back-enders, you can actually get good knowledge from seeing what's actually possible front-end wise and what's possible back-end wise, so you get the whole feeling of the system. And we just had one in Denmark, and yeah, it went well. The guys that were there did learn quite a lot. So, but yeah, just so you know that we're going to team up with them for that part. And I think this is my last slide. It is just that e-commerce you download at our Umbraco. The starter kit is at starterkit.ecommerce.net, and there's also a download link. So here you can see the front end, and you also can download it and use it yourself. Documentation, of course, important part. Pricing, $349 per domain, top level domain. It's a one-time fee, don't have to pay annual. And yeah, that's my contact information. And the last slide just goes to questions. So, any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have one product and multiple categories?
Yeah, the way you would do that is that if you think of Umbraco, it is a tree structure, and that's you're limited to it. So you could, but in e-commerce we have you can have a master relation, so you can have one product pointing to another product, and if the properties are empty, it will actually go ahead and fetch it from another place. So normally when we do multilingual sites, you have all the non-language specific information in one place, and you have the information for the language. Like the language specific information, you have that for each language, and then the one for they have a relation to another product, and you could do that with multiple categories. That's one way to do it, or you can it's just Umbraco, so you can also have all the nodes, and then you can have a tree picker and pick which categories you want them in, and it's just a UI question of actually using that tree picker to show it. So you don't have to mind e-commerce that much of like the UI part. That is Umbraco, and it's Umbraco nodes, and it's a very flexible system, as you all know. So you can do it in lots of different ways.
So you could probably just drop in multi-node tree picker.
Yeah.
As a standard weapon for all these situations.
Yeah.
So you can assign multiple categories.
Yeah. Because e-commerce doesn't use categories. It doesn't use your product in that way. You don't need to call it product. It could be a news item. Just if it has a price, e-commerce knows it can be bought, and that's basically it. So all the UI stuff and all the presentation and the structural way of doing it is just the same mindset that when you build a website, how to actually build the best structure for the content editors. Yeah, cool. That was it.